I'm going to list the top 20 richest countries in the world in order of GDP, PPP per capita. I thought it would be fun to read off a list of the top 20 countries in the world of terms of economic wealth and give my explanation for why each country is so high up individually. PPP stands for Purchasing Power Parity, which just takes into account prices in a country so that the same amount of money buys the same amount of goods and services. This way, you don't have to deal with exchange rate fluctuations and other complications of just using arbitrary market exchange rates for currencies. The list I will be using will be the countries in the world by GDP per capita international dollars in order by the IMF, as the list appears on its Wikipedia page. So anyway, here's the list. Number 1, Qatar, $130,000. Qatar is rich because it's sitting on a huge amount of oil and gas, but it does have a non-oil economy of some size, made possible by long-term political stability and good economic policy. Macau, $116,000. Macau is a special administrative region of China. It's basically just a city with no rural hinterlands and has a small population. Since cities are where the concentrations of economic activity are, having little rural area would boost its numbers. Macau is the tourist and gaming mecca that attracts travel from all over China. Number 2, Luxembourg, $106,000. Luxembourg is a small country with very little rural hinterland for its population size. Luxembourg is in a regional neighborhood that developed first, and neighbors developed in early advanced economies. Luxembourg is a major center of banking and finance and draws business from its neighbors. 3. Singapore, $100,000. Singapore is a city-state with little rural area, but it has a larger population and is in a poor regional neighborhood that started developing much later. Singapore has no natural resources, giving it a comparative advantage in manufacturing. Singapore had good economic policies and political stability. The country had an open economy that welcomed foreign investment. 4. Brunei, $79,000. Brunei is a small state that is sitting on a lot of oil. The country also neighbors fairly developed and prosperous Malaysia. Number 5. Ireland, $78,000. Being a peripheral European country, Ireland started developing a little on the early side, but later than the major European powers. After the 80s, Ireland pursued open economic policies to attract investment and business activity from all over Europe. Ireland has a small population and has become a major center for corporate activity and finance. An alternative measure Ireland uses, modified gross national income, has a value of $50,000. Number 6, Norway, $74,000. Norway is sitting atop a lot of oil. The country started developing fairly early, and staying out of World War I allowed it to catch up somewhat with the more advanced European countries. 7. United Arab Emirates, $69,000. The UAE is sitting atop a lot of oil and gas wealth, but its non-oil economy still has a value of around $30,000 per year. Like Qatar, long-term political stability made the success possible. 8. Kuwait, $67,000. Same as the UAE, Kuwait has a lot of oil and gas wealth. Its non-oil economy still is around $30,000 per year. The country has had mostly long-term political stability, except for the Gulf War in the early 90s. 9. Switzerland, $64,000. Switzerland was one of the earliest countries to start developing in the 19th century, and staying out of both world wars allowed it to pull well ahead of its neighbors. The country had stable politics and economic policies. Hong Kong, $64,000. Like Singapore, the special administrative region has a larger population for its size. Hong Kong has no natural resources, giving it a comparative advantage in manufacturing, and has had good economic policies and political stability. 10. The United States, $62,000. The United States started developing very early due to its connections with Britain, and became a pioneer of innovation in many industries. Pursuing protectionist policies allowed its industry to get off the ground and protected it from the commodity dependency that ruined Latin America. Being on the other side of the ocean protected it from the two world wars. Its early start allowed it to surge ahead with Switzerland as the world leaders in development. 11. San Marino, 60,000. San Marino is a tiny microstate in Italy. 12. The Netherlands, $56,000. The Netherlands started developing pretty early like the rest of northwestern Europe, though it started a bit after Belgium and the Rhineland. The country stayed out of World War I, allowing it to pull slightly ahead. The country has been completely politically stable since World War II. 13. Saudi Arabia, 55,000. Like the other Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia has a lot of oil and gas wealth. Its non-oil economy is around 25,000 per year. Long-term political stability provided for this success. 14. Iceland, 55,000. Iceland is a small country with a lot of geothermal energy. Taiwan, 53,000. The island of Taiwan has a high population and few resources, giving it a comparative advantage in manufacturing. Long-term political stability and competitive economic policies also allowed it to be successful. 15. Sweden, 52,000. Like Norway, the country started developing fairly early, and staying out of World War I allowed it to catch up somewhat with the more advanced European countries. The country also has a lot of high-skilled and technological expertise that allows it to have a substantive export sector. 16. Germany, 52,000. Germany was one of the earlier countries to start developing in the middle of the 19th century. The country has a long tradition of high-skilled labor and technological expertise, allowing it to make high-quality goods. The country was always a leader in technological innovation and industrial research. Like Sweden, the country's high-skilled labor and technological expertise allows it to have a substantial export sector. 17. Australia, 52,000. Australia's isolated location allowed it to have political stability, and its British links meant it got an earlier start developing. 18. Austria, 52,000. Austria neighbors a lot of developed country. It's basically an extension of Germany. 19. Denmark, 52,000. Denmark neighbors a lot of high-income countries. Like Sweden, Denmark started developing fairly early, and staying out of World War I allowed it to surpass the up-to-then more advanced European countries. The country also has a lot of high-skilled and technological expertise that allows it to have a substantive export sector. 20. Bahrain, 50,000. Like Saudi Arabia, Bahrain has a lot of oil and gas wealth. Long-term political stability also provided for its success. So that's the list of the 20 richest countries in the world and my explanation for their success. If you like this video, please share it with others who might like it. Also, please like this video and comment, and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell for more content. It'll only take you a couple of seconds to do any of these, so please do so.